cosmic bay. From Jupiter to Saturn, we'll deliver our freight on our starship, sailing through the interplanetary strait. With a hardy crew and a cargo of dreams, through the nebula's mist we'll forge our own schemes. In the vastness of space where no man has been, we'll navigate, chart the unexplored galactic highway. Give all mates up on the starry sea. We're the spacemen sailing through infinity. With our voices loud and our spirits free, we'll voyage across the celestial sea. Oh, voyage across the celestial sea. Hoist the sails and let the wind guide our way. We're the spacemen sailing the cosmic bay. From Jupiter to Saturn, we'll deliver our freight on our starship, sailing through the interplanetary strait. With a hardy crew and a cargo of dreams, through the nebula's mist we'll forge our own schemes. In the vastness of space where no man has been, we'll navigate, chart the unexplored galactic highway. Give all mates up on the starry sea. We're the spacemen sailing through infinity. With our voices loud and our spirits free, we'll voyage across the celestial sea. Oh, voyage across the celestial sea. Hoist the sails and let the wind guide our way. We're the spacemen sailing the cosmic bay. From Jupiter to Saturn, we'll deliver our freight on our starship, sailing through the interplanetary strait. With a hardy crew and a cargo of dreams, through the nebula's mist we'll forge our own schemes. In the vastness of space where no man has been, we'll navigate, chart the unexplored galactic highway. Give all mates up on the starry sea. We're the spacemen sailing through infinity. With our voices loud and our spirits free, we'll voyage across the celestial sea.
Lots of buttons to click, just to make sure I don't end the stream early. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you are all doing well. Excuse me. because he really, really wants to keep the time. That's why he has 2 watches. Right, I think everything is working. Hopefully. I think I might be a bit too zoomed in on the camera, but I should be fine. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Naskin, Jamie, United, I Dagger. I have no idea what that means, AJ. I do know what Shield Hero is. That is what? Isekai? And Konosuba, I'm guessing, is another. I think I've read a little bit of Shield Hero. Don't think I've read Konosuba. Yeah, they're definitely early for most of the people around the world. For me, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, so a good time to start work. Especially with the headache and lots of lights. That makes my day so much better. But this is the way we're going to do it. We've got the drinks, we've got the coffee, we've got the other drinks. So we're sorted. Gotta love time travel. Keeps everybody on their toes. And wondering what the hell. At least today is better than Friday. I haven't pulled a muscle on my chest. I haven't forgotten to do my voice exercises. I was actually prepared for the stream. So, it's a good start. But however, it can change at a moment's notice. Thank you, Deuce Salt, for popping in. I understand. Life gets in the way of stuff. Or, life comes first. At some point, I would prefer to be doing 5 or 6 hour streams so that we can catch everybody, waking up or going to sleep. 6 hours, I think, is a good bracket. But I don't know. So, some good news for those that have been around for the talk about the website. I did a brief for the developer, so he started working on it. So, hopefully in a couple weeks we might have an alpha, or very rough alpha, available. But we'll see how that goes. I'm healing very well, Red Vex. Basically, it's just building up stamina again. So it's like an athlete that's been injured and now have to work to get all the stamina back. There's no physical problems, really. Just, working on stamina, which is a lot easier said than done. Nigel, as far as I know, book 3 is underway for Humans Don't Make Good Familiars. Humans Don't Make Good Familiars. I don't know whether it's finished. We'll have to see. So, yeah. I mean, before that, I want to keep on the series channel one sci-fi and one fantasy going. So I don't want to like double up with 2 fantasy or 2 sci-fi at the same time. So we've got Survivor's Dungeon going currently. We need to catch that up. And then we'll probably do New Threat as the series when I get back up to it. Good morning, Nasquin. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Hopefully I can make something that everybody will like to use, both to post stories and to read stories. The problem is, well, not the problem. I don't want to really start a book when it's halfway through, because then you end up with a break in the middle. And everybody likes to binge, so I prefer to do it in one go. Good morning, Captain. Hope you're doing well. Oh. I may not have pulled the muscle today, but the one I pulled on Friday is still there. Likes to remind me that it's still kicking around. Alright. Might as well start with the book. You got everybody from all time zones. That's awesome. We need to go to small mode. And that one, I think. Yes, that one. Alrighty. Not really. So when I record a series, I tend to record all 5 chapters in one day, and then I'll record the next 5 chapters the next week. So I don't binge record, but people like to binge watch. Well, I kind of binge record, but I prefer to do that simply because it keeps things consistent. So before, with my voice being not consistent through days, I need to speak with my left hand, not my right. So with my voice not being consistent through days, I would like to do one series on a one day, so that the week's worth of content is consistent, and I can keep voices in like similar, and the flow similar, and the background noise similar, so that there isn't much of a change in the audio. So that's why I personally like recording all of a series in one day. Well, a week's worth of series in one day. Fair enough, AJ. Fair enough. You can always just explain it to me on the Discord server. I may or may not read. I don't really get time to watch too much stuff. Especially isekai, because I read isekai for a living. Well, 6 hours of streaming. It's not 6 hours of workday. It's not like I don't do work after I stream or before I stream. Yes, but I do all my merch through Teespring. And they've got an anti-AI art thing. So all the thumbnails and the backgrounds are generated through AI, so they'll probably be tossed out. Which is, fair enough. Good morning, Brian. I hope you're doing well. And the other thing with merch is they always say you shouldn't have too much merch. Indecision. What do they call it? There's a name for it. So if you give people too much of apparently, if you give people too many options to choose from, they won't choose one because they are basically decision frozen. I don't know what the technical term is. So there's so many options that they don't pick one. But if you give a limited amount of options, people will pick one. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this camera around. Because I keep talking with my right hand. Because my microphone stand is on my left side. My right hand is free. So I talk with my right hand. As soon as I can figure out what I'm doing. Aha! Right-handed. There we go. Now I can talk with my right hand and not hit my microphone stand. Yeah, decision paralysis. It sounds correct. So, they recommend when you have merch shops and stuff like that to not have too many decisions, too many options. Good morning, Banana. Hope you're doing well. Bunker branding. Okay. I will open up a tab to remember, hopefully, to look at that. I make no guarantees. I've done this before and then closed all the tabs not knowing what they were. Well, I used to shave my head to like a 1 or a 2, mainly because of heat. So when you've got lots of hair, it gets very hot in summer, especially like at 35. But if you've got short hair, then it's fine. And laziness, because then you don't have to really wash your hair. You just like use soap. So I've had everything from buzz cut all the way down to the middle of my back. Right. Supposed to be doing some work stuff. This is probably going to be a bit of a tearjerker, I'd imagine. Haven't really read through it, but from the title, we're going to have some onion ninjas. What am I doing? Stuffing things. Cool. Always stuffing things. I need to move this over. Right. 35 is probably closer to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So 35 is centigrade. 35 C in Fahrenheit. It's 95 degrees Fahrenheit would be the temperature. So it can get quite hot, especially in my recording room. And if you're doing like labor stuff, you don't really want long hair because sweat and sticky and all that stuff. Yeah, I can fully understand that. One of my biggest gripes when I had long hair was, how much maintenance it took. And then just like, well, I can go buzz cut and not have to do any maintenance. Do you know how hard it is to get short back and sides? This is an old school military cut, basically. Every single barber that I've gone to, they want to do a fade. I'm like, I don't want a fade. I want a hard cut. I want short back and sides. Hard cut. Like a mohawk, but fat. And they always try and do a fade. I'm like, no, I don't want a fade. I want the old school short back and sides. But it's such an uncommon cut these days that most barbers, I think I said tailor earlier, they don't know. So my wife does it. It's not even a 40s cut. I used to get it as a kid. But I mean, different countries, different worlds. So when I was a kid, that would have been the 80s. And used to go to the barber for a short back and sides. That was pretty much what all schoolboys did. Fair, yeah, it's similar to Kyle's hairstyle. I mean, this I normally shave down to a number 1, and then this is 3 fingers. So the cut is stupidly easy to do. I mean, I could probably do it myself if I had enough mirrors. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to wear it like the old 40s, 50s, where they like had brill cream on the top and short on the sides. So that's the style I was going with for the uniform. But just in general, short back and sides is so much easier to keep. Okay. If you are new to the stream, yes, Giles, a weird haircut. If you're new to the stream, I'm going to be narrating a story online. We're going to go through the process of assigning voices and all of that. If you don't want it to be spoiled for yourself, then wait for tonight and don't watch the stream. If you want to watch how it goes into a story, then here we are. And you can watch both. I like to think that both are entertaining in their own ways. Because this won't have scrolling text, this won't have sound effects, this won't have background music, other than the lo-fi beats. Well, my problem is, if I cut my hair any shorter than this, it stands up. So I need to use basically a bucket of hair gel just to... but at this length, it's long enough that I don't have to use too much gel to get it down. Yeah. This is a 15-16 minute story, so it's quite long compared to the ones we did last week. We're going to work those muscles. Gotta build that strength back. Good morning, Crusader. Hope you're doing well. I use hair gel. Brill cream is a pain in the ass to get out of your hair. And so is wax. Because they're both not soluble in water. Which is great when you're out in the field. But I'd like to wash my hair, so I don't want to spend too much time doing it. So I use like super powered... what am I doing? Gel. Finding the old school, hardcore gel to bully my hair into working, and that was also a pain in the butt. Yeah, mode 1, most, by the looks of things. We're about 25% in, and we're doing mostly one voice, which is good. Well, kind of good. Mode 1 is the least tiring on my voice, so that's good. Goodbye, Terry. I hope you enjoy the Fallout series. I don't know whether I want to watch it or not, but it seems to be quite popular. I have played Fallout Commander recently, so that's something. Fair enough. Wearing a hair on your hat or in your hair would just be all sorts of trouble. A lot of maintenance. Okay, so this is an elf. Not a sci-fi story. That's cool. I haven't been reading the story. Some people may know this. Some people may not. Every time I do a male elvish voice, I do snooty. I don't know why. I always see elves as snooty. Oh my god, look at what I have done! Sort of stuff. Same as if I do Dwarvish, I go more of a Scottish voice. The Magic the Gathering released a set for Fallout. So there's 4 pre-con sets, pre-constructed. You would just buy the whole set. So we were playing some of those. Ooh, we got dwarves. Yoo-hoo. Very true, D. Very true. If you wear a hair on your hat, you're either going to get ears or feet. Well, I haven't played too many hunting games, like specifically hunting games. The one I tried was very microtransaction heavy, so that put me off. I don't really have a problem with that. Hunting games. Oh, there's an angry dog outside. He's telling the whole world that he's angry. Or at least the neighbor's dogs. He's very unhappy. Well, I mean, there's that one that's on Steam all the time. In the top sales a lot. It's an MMO, I think. A hunting MMO. But it's like full-on hunting. But that's the one where there was lots of microtransactions, if I remember. I have no idea who's talking. I think it's the healer. I think we'll go with M2 for healer. A wizened old healer. Just seems to work. You got saved by David Attenborough. Yay! It could have been Hunter Call of the Wilds. I really can't remember. It was quite a while ago. Yes, I think it was Hunter Call of the Wilds, now that I think about it. I feel a migraine brewing. That's awesome. I knew today was going too well for a Monday. She pointed at itself. Cool. And F1. M2. Nope, that's M1. Before I continue with the narration, I'll just quickly go grab a pill for preventative migraine. And the reason why migraine is so sucky is you can see in my glasses that there's lights everywhere, so this room's quite bright. It's just fantastic when you have a migraine. Good morning, Peanut. I hope you're doing well. Alchemist's disease. Ooh. Yeah, we're doing quite well. I'm actually quite happy with the turnout for a Sunday. Good morning, Sharon. Hope you're doing well. Excuse me. Yeah, the base game's free to play, and those are the most expensive games. Free to play just means lots of money, with extra steps. I'd rather somebody be up front and say, I want X amount of money, and I'd be like, okay, here's my money, give me the thing. Freemium or free to play, whew, that is an expensive outing. Okay, why did we suddenly go quiet? Ah. It wasn't on shuffle. Yeah, I mean, I also remember when companies didn't use their customers as beta testers. That was awesome. So now we've got microtransactions up the wazoo, and we're beta testers, free beta testers. Well, actually, we're not free beta testers. We're worse than free beta testers. We pay to beta test games. How ridiculous is that? Because that's all early access is. That's what it started off as. Is indie companies who couldn't afford beta testers, they would release early access games so that crowdfund beta testing, and then now everybody does it, whether they need to or not. Because why pay for beta testers when they'll pay you? Good morning, Villa. I hope you're doing well this fantastic Sunday, or Saturday, depending on where you are in the world. Although I think at this point most of the world's on a Sunday. Some might be on a Monday even. But we don't talk about Mondays. That's just too much blasphemy for the weekend. We'll do it. We'll only talk about a Monday when we have to. It's like the day that shall not be mentioned. If you mention the name, it will come down and haunt you. Heh. My magical assistant, Pixie Fairy, wife editor, delivered to me a migraine pill. Oh, so hopefully that'll cut off the brewing migraine. Fair enough. I also miss Warcraft, the old school Warcraft. I mean, I think it's all very, very different now. What are we up to? Chat. Chat has 34 people watching. That's awesome. It is very, very awesome. Extremely awesome. Awesome. Okay. Quite a long story today. Like I said, 15 minutes. Okay, so then the rest is M1. Cool. I don't think, even though it's a long story, it shouldn't be too bad because most of it is in narrative voice. Ooh, 1. Yes, very magical wife. She puts up with my crap. So, definitely a magical wife. Alright. Teleprompter software. Need to turn the screen on. There we go. Center myself, which is... There we go. Mostly center. All right. Oi. Are you tickling me? All right. I love Warcraft. The old days. Okay. Not yet. I shall have the recording software soon. I just need to shuffle screens around. But thank you for the reminder. It is appreciated. I mean, you would think that, I do this for a living, so I should be able to remember to record everything, but... Okay. That can be closed. This can be moved over here. Right. That's an odd angle, but we'll make it work. The screen is at an odd angle. Recording software, check. Video recording software. Audio recording software, check. Glasses, check. Right. I think we're ready. Right. I think we're pretty much ready. Yeah, that's okay. No. Okay. Don't worry, this can be cut out in the editing. So that shouldn't be a problem. There you go. Right. Record. Going into recording mode, so I won't respond to chat for a little while, but I will catch up once I'm done. Greetings, ladies and metalgents, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called For the Young Should Not Die, written by Mercury the Dealer. Blood, sweat, mud, steel, fear. So much fear. Alecria ran through the battlefield, steel in hand and desperation in eyes, as she prepared to clash against the enemy forces. Her heart thumped against her chest as she saw men and women from her side get killed, and vice versa. She watched the foul-mouthed Roderick. She watched the foul-mouthed Roderick cut deep into the guts of a human, only to get stabbed by his victim. His last moments being on a foreign land, with foreign spear lodged in his lungs. She felt her magical core thrum with power as she forced her energy on her arms and legs, and then extending it to her blade, which she used to tear open a man's neck. Bright red arterial blood sprayed everywhere, tainting her clean uniform. The shrieking of metal as blades collided mixed with the terrified screams of young men and women sent to die because some old man wanted more coin in their vaults. Because some old men wanted a few more coins in their vaults, creating an unholy symphony to which the Grim Reaper gladly danced to. She killed 4 men before reaching the enemy trench. Blood and mud made up the floor of the hastily made shelter. The humans had been unprepared for the opening of that elven portals and were unprepared for the opening of the elven portals and were forced to muster a defense much faster than they would like to, something that her people's leadership had successfully exploited. Of course, while the generals and strategists patted themselves on the back, people like her were forced to actually do all the killing. She walked unsteadily through the trench, her legs sluggish and her blade like lead. Using enhancing magic always took a toll on the body, and she would be much weaker for the next few minutes. And feel tired for a couple hours. Thankfully, she would just be kidding the wounded and weak. The thought did not comfort her. She walked through the trench, sword stabbing into corpses to make sure that there was no one faking death. As the sounds of battle slowly faded, her sight no doubt victorious. The fact that she found no survivors was a relief, though she would not dare share that sentiment with whatever comrades she had left. Her relief was not long-lived. A middle-aged man, clothes dirty and hands stained with blood, tightened a bandage over his comrade's arm, which bled much more than a normal wound should. No doubt the work of a bleeding enchantment. He had the human symbol of a healing marked upon his steel helmet, and rust and scratches of which telling the tale of one that had seen many battles. 5 other men in different states of injury surrounded him while he worked his calloused fingers with the precision of a veteran, wrapping the wound and injecting a human tonic to his arm. Official orders from the king during times of war was to not harm healers unless they actively fought back. Unofficial orders from the superior were that if they were Unofficial orders from her superiors were that if the healer was dead, then who could say if they fought back or not? She raised her blade. The men looked at her with a mixture of fear, anger, and resignation. All except the healer. Comrade, he shouted, an elven equivalent of comrade at her, not taking his eyes off his patient. Only once he finished tending to the wound did he lock eyes with hers, eyes filled not with anger or fear, but pity. Her blade crashed down, cutting down the earth as she lacked the strength to both. Her blade crashed down, cutting down the earth as she lacked the strength of both body and spirit to aim it towards the enemy. She wished she could. She wanted. What? Her heart beat like it was going to explode as she felt a surge of energy rush towards her. Dwarven artifusion artillery. She immediately forced her core to the very edge of its power, creating a thick shield of magic around her, hoping against hope that it would be enough to save her from the hell to come. The healer got up from his feet and rushed towards his bag, drinking and injecting himself with a dizzying cocktail of human tonics and potions. And then he threw himself at her. Her shield, made only to fight against heat, did nothing to stop the man from slamming into her and forcing her to the cold mud. She tried fighting back, but found herself unable to do so as her energy was drained. Instead, the man dragged her across the mud and into a nearby crevice that was barely big enough for them both. And then there was fire. Blood, sweat, fire, ash, pain. So much pain. Electria felt like she should be screaming and crying in absolute agony, yet her body refused to do so, either because she had used too much magic or because she was just too injured. Probably both. And she was moving. The dying rays of light from the setting sun were too blinding for her to truly see her surroundings, but the feeling of being dragged was unmistakable. Had some ally survived? Was she being rescued? Was she going home? Camaradia! Oh. Electria felt what little hope she had left vanished. Electria felt what little hope she had left vanish. She'd been captured by the healer and was going to get tortured and killed, or get tortured and then left for the enemy's soldiers. She was not sure which was worse. She felt the man drop and kneel beside her and tried her best to prepare herself for whatever was coming next. Which was relief. Electria tried and failed to moan as some form of gel was applied to her skin, instantly dulling her burns where it touched. The man unapologetically flipped her over and spread whatever divine concoction that was throughout her. The man unapologetically flipped her over and spread whatever divine concoction that was throughout her raw legs and back, something that would have been most inappropriate in polite society. He flipped her back and gently but firmly opened her eyes, dripping some weird liquid that cleared her vision and made her eyes itch. Finally, he put a few small berries in a mortar, crushed them with a pestle, mixed them with a potion, ground everything thoroughly, put the resulting semi-solid liquid in a full water skin, shook it for a good minute, and then forced it down her throat. The drink was bitter and left her mouth and throat tight and itchy. She would have spit it back up. She would have spit it back if it weren't for her weakness and the fact that the human was holding her throat and massaging it to both help her swallow and prevent her from resisting. Once she finally drained the drink, she felt an uncomfortable warmth spread through her chest. She felt itchy, feverish, but also much more alive than just a few minutes ago. The human gave her a final look and tried to rise to his feet, only to find her hand holding his arm. She pointed at herself. Electria. His worn face, with old scars, split into a tight smile. Marco. The elf gave a weak nod and fell asleep. The next 2 days were confusing and painful. Marco had dragged her limp body using a thin but durable cloth, the kind humans made their tents with, which allowed her healing skin to feel every rock and rough surface that they passed through. She was dirty, with the closest thing to a bath being when Marco decided to clean some of her rougher burns with another one of his potions, and then threw some water on her when she was finished. It mostly just made her clothes wet, but it was better than nothing. Her savior coughed loudly, a wet and gurgling sound, followed by him spitting a thick reddish-black phlegm and then walking like nothing had happened. Alchemist's disease. She had heard of it, but never seen it before. Elves relied much more on magic than alchemical products. So they rarely got it. Humans, on the other hand, had much less magical potential, while having a truly staggering resistance to poisons, alchemy, and even some natural resistances to magic. She had at first wondered how the human had survived the explosion, but now the answer was obvious. The man had probably injected himself with an enormous cocktail of potions, which sent his body into superhuman levels of resistance and healing. He coughed again, this time much deeper, and staining the back of his hand with blood. And now he was dying. She wanted to have a laugh. Whoever this man was, whatever reason he had for dragging a nobody soldier from enemy nation, across the wastelands back to her allies it would not change the fact that he was not going to leave this place alive. It was not funny. This was unequivocally a tragedy. She was just too tired of crying, so she laughed. The human stopped, looked back on her, then laughed too. The wasteland was silent except for the sound of the whispering wind and two very different soldiers sharing a moment of mutual bewilderment of the absurd. "You good, Flesh?" Allecria nodded and had a small smile. "Better." Marco and her had both been speaking much more openly after their shared laughter, and, due to a mixture of boredom and dread, they were sharing language lessons. Apparently, the man had a very, very basic grasp of the Grenadian Elvish. The man had a very, very basic grasp of Grenadian Elvish, and thus it was decided that she would expand his vocabulary instead of the other way round. It had gone better than she had expected, but much worse than she had hoped. She had become seriously concerned for her safety when he first asked the previous question, and it took the good half an hour for him to convey that he was asking her about her physical health. They had shared another laugh, this one much more genuine. Once she explained this to him, it had become an inside joke amongst the two of them now. The man smiled, a thin smile that showed no teeth as to hide his blackening gums. He knew it. She knew it. He knew that she knew it. She knew that he knew that she knew it. Neither spoke about it. Marco pointed at rocks, drawings, potions. Allecria diligently translated. Marco walked, and she was dragged ever closer to her destination. Marco walked, and she was just dragged ever closer to her destination, which she had long identified as being the general location of an Allied fort. She did not ask why he did not go towards his people. Soil, water, birds, grass, trees, and blood. Allecria kept herself deathly still as Marco dragged her across the grass of the forest, barely able to stand, and yet still trying to pull her after doing so far. And yet still trying to pull her after doing so. And yet trying to pull her after doing so for far longer and further than any mortal had any right to. His eyes were crisscrossed by crimson lines and, much like his mouth and ears, leaked a black viscous liquid. He was dying. "Let us rest," she said. He did not respond, instead dropping the rope and sitting next to a tree with all the grace of a falling log. She crawled out from what she discovered was indeed a repurposed tent and moved next to him. She could not walk for long periods of time, and her magic had been truly exhausted. She would take weeks to recover. Still, she could crawl for a bit. Still, she could crawl for a bit. Still, she could crawl a bit. She knew deep down that he now was not getting back up. He knew it. None commented on it. They both sat under the canopy and watched the birds. Why? The burning question that she'd been wanting to ask for so long. Why do this? Why drag her across the remains? Why go to enemy territory in what was certain death? Alchemist's disease was not some incurable illness. It could be treated and expelled. Surely, someone as skilled as him, and the only human survivor of the battle, thus the only one that could report it, would be given immediate treatment. She could understand why he chose to save her instead of the other patients. She had placed a shield around her and still almost died. The others would have certainly perished. What she would not understand was why save anyone at all. He looked at her and snorted, an ugly and wet sound due to all the liquid. Duty healer. She frowned. "My enemy, so why?" He stared at her, and suddenly she saw not an enemy soldier, or a dutiful healer, or a martyr, or a savior, but a man. A tired, weary man that, just by his gaze, she knew had seen too much. He lowered his head. "Young fool, soldier, but not enemy, never was. Too young. The young should not die or suffer." He let his head rest against the tree. "Tired? Rest much?" She shook her head with wet eyes. "More, not much," she'd corrected. He nodded. "More." He closed his eyes. He did not open them again. Alecria walked among the camp in a confident march. Alecria walked among the camp in a confident march, with a gaze that only those few in the right mixture of skill and purpose could achieve. Guardians and healers gave her respectful glances, though none saluted. She walked amongst the wounded, cataloguing them and speaking with the managers of each of the camp to ensure all were ready. They were moving soon. The war moved, and so did they. Her second-in-command, a crippled human alchemist, walked alongside her and gave his report on the state of their supplies and people. All was good for now, though there was a fear that they would soon be overwhelmed by the deluge of people in need that the war was bringing. They would deal with it in time. They had the resources. She called for the moving of the camp, and a few hours later, a great caravan of healers moved, seeking more wounded, and spearheaded by a single elf wielding a banner atop a horse. The banner was a beautiful, stylized drawing of two raceless and genderless figures, the first bearing the universal symbol of healing on their breast, dragging the second using a tarp. The first was hunched as though exhausted, and yet inexorably moving forward, while the second laid on the top, clutching a wounded arm. Proudly displayed on the bottom lay the simple phrase, "For the young should not die or suffer." End of story. Sorry, I was just recording stupid stuff one. Recording ambient noise. Okay, so we got the thing in place. Let me quickly catch up with chat while I hydrate. Good morning, Wolfos. I hope you're doing well. Fair enough, Doc. Sometimes you got to show dominance. Especially with computers. Itchy nose. Electric Universe. No, I haven't. Peanut. Or if I have, I've forgotten. Which is also likely. Right. I don't truly edit, for those who've never seen this process before. I'm just normalizing the audio. As you can see here, the volume peaks a lot, and you don't really want that. So we're removing noise, because I can do that, and I should do that because ambient noise changes all the time. So you want to take the ambient noise profile as soon as you record. And now you can see all the audio is properly normalized. So there isn't any loud spots and there aren't really any quiet spots. It doesn't change too much of like the more subtle stuff, but it does mean that you can hear everything I say without changing the volume. Now we save it. Are you talking about the music Electric Universe, or are we talking about the book? I mentioned it'd be book. Book's more relevant. Right. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Roar. Okay, voice is feeling good. Voice is feeling fantastic. I think I'll just do some rehydration, and then we can do another story. Yes. More fiction. Gotta push those vocal cords, otherwise they do not grow. Okay. Theory. Electric universe theory. So the electric universe theory challenges the gravity-centric model by asserting that electricity is the primary force shaping the cosmos instead of gravity. It proposes that an interconnected network of plasma connects every galaxy, and that electricity, not gravity, drives celestial interaction. That does sound interesting. Yeah, I have a page open about it. I always see cosmology, and I think, is that the scientific one, or is it the other one? I think it's cosmetology, that's the other one, and cosmology is the scientific one. But I always have to double check in my head. Hydration. Slightly flavored water. Just what the body didn't really want, but it got it anyway. Dark mirror, lipstick on a black hole, sounds good. Gonna be a bit tricky to keep it consistent, but I'm sure it'll entertain anybody taking pictures. You also probably want to put goofy eyes, like googly eyes on top of it. So it just looks like a really surprised black hole with lipstick. Okay. So that was a 15-minute story. Or, just listen to me. You get 3 black holes. 2 small ones, 1 big one. And you put googly eyes on the 2 small ones, and then lipstick on the big one. And it'll look like a surprised face. Badum. Very funny, Red. Very funny. It's a good joke. And I'm not being sarcastic, it is. Very quick. Right. Right. Oh, before I forget, I may not stream tomorrow. I've got a meeting that's been moved 3 times. I'm getting annoyed with it. So it's supposed to happen on Friday, and it got cancelled last minute. Then it was supposed to happen on Saturday, and it got cancelled last minute. Now it's supposed to happen on Monday. And definitely fecking me around. So depending on what time this meeting happens, because they haven't actually even given me a time, I may stream later or not at all. Just looking for the next story. So the short of that whole thing was I have to record an extra video today, whether I want to or not. No, this is final handoff of the house that's for sale. So in theory, once the paperwork signed, the keys are handed over, the house no longer belongs to me, which is great. So, I mean, it's kind of important meeting. Can't do it over email. But I just wish they would stop messing me around. It's taken, what, 5 months to get this sorted? Selling the house. We put the house on the market. It sold within 1 day. Sold. We found a buyer in 1 day. And 5 months of paperwork shuffling. Great stuff. Kinda. We need to sell the house before we can move on to the next step of immigration. So, it's not quite the last step of immigration, but it's the last South African step. That is ridiculous. That was an advert about selling my house. Or selling a house. They're listening in. Don't speak. They're listening. But yeah, so once the house is sold and the money is in my account, we can move on with the immigration. Because they're waiting for a financial report, and we didn't want to give them a financial report until we sold the house. Because on a financial report, if you own the house, it's a fixed asset. If you have the money for the house, it is a monetary asset. So we wanted, because the house was supposed to be going through sometime soon, we've been waiting for that. Oh, that was a good one, Captain No Name. Definitely gonna meet some resistance. I know not being entertaining, but I didn't do some of my homework. So we're busy doing it live. Homework being getting stories prepared before the stream. And while I do have the next story prepared, it was a 26-minute story, which is a bit much. The puns are strong. I can feel them from here. It's almost like a disturbance in the force. And I'm going to twitch my eye, which is definitely not fun. Well, twitching my eyelid. My body's definitely picking on me today. Such riveting content. Yes. Well, my organs always bully me. I had my oldest bully. Trying to decide what story. Okay, I think I found one. Just need to do some stuff. Oh, that reminds me. I need to generate background and send it off to get editing started for the one we just recorded. So let's do that quickly. My computer is struggling a little bit. Okay. Waiting for my computer to do something. The spreadsheet with all the stories on it is pretty big. Computer doesn't like that. So doing anything on the spreadsheet takes a little time. Alright, I'm going to generate a background, which is same phrase that I always use, outer space in the future. Right. So, did anybody get up to anything interesting this weekend? I know it's not over, but you never know. Maybe I'm old and all the interesting things happen on a Saturday, whereas I sleep on a Saturday, mostly. Work. I can understand that. As long as work wasn't horrible, then okay. Yeah. Bashing your programming is probably normal, very much. Well, I'm glad the dialysis went well. Something you don't want to go horribly wrong, or even remotely wrong. Thank you for the subscription, Alpha. It's very much appreciated. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend, or at least not a bad one. You know, an average day is still better than 50% of days. And that's a good thing. Okay. That's been sent off. We can start working on the next one. You can put my glasses back on. No, apparently Alpha Noob does come out of the dungeon at some point to watch Twitch. But yes, inside joke and all that. Although I don't think he's Alpha Noob, I think he's Alpha Chad in Epic Loot. What am I doing? Just went blank there. Right, working. That's what I'm doing. Right, story number next. It's also a longish story. Let's roll the dice. Let's see what the voice says. Righty. Thank you, Draven. I definitely will. It's just normal daily stuff. The big thing at the moment is pushing the stamina up on the voice, but can only do that by pushing it, unfortunately. Okay, M1. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. M1. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. M1. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. I'm not going to do that every time. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. I'll have to check, Crusader. I need the author's permission, and it also depends on how long the chapters are. So there are some series that people have asked for, but each chapter is 40 minutes long, which is a bit too long to try to do a daily series with. Not a bit, it's definitely too long. So for series, I try to aim between 10 and 15 minutes per chapter. Nature Predators averaged out at like 18 minutes per chapter. Survivor's Dungeon is about 15 minutes per chapter, but a job for a human is 40 minutes a chapter. So it's a planning thing, and then also just having enough capacity in my voice to do it in a weekly basis. Boop-a-doop. Gotta add your own sound effects, otherwise, well, what are you gonna do? That reminds me that I stopped. No, I didn't. Stop recording. Okay. Good morning, James. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so this is one voice, which we're going to go with Snively. And then this, no, that's not Snively. That is Snively. This one is Pompous. A problem? Yes. M4, Snively. M3. M4. M3, oh, M1. Thank you very much for the membership, Fubits. It's very much appreciated. For a tier 3 membership. That is very, very much appreciated. Sounds like you're trying to cover up a crime scene there, Crusader, but it should work. Who the fuck's talking? Sometimes, D. Sometimes there are stories that don't really differentiate the speakers, so you can get them mixed up very easily. I try to follow, but, you know, sometimes it's not always great. And, I mean, I normally do the voices to the profession, not the name. So, like, captains tend to be an older voice. Engineers tend to be Scottish. First officers tend to be snivelly. I don't know why. That's just the way it ends up. Or cowardly. Yeah, I have no idea whether that will work. But I'm no cleaning expert, so maybe somebody in chat is. Okay, so this is Snooty. It's not necessarily specifically Riker. But first officers tend to be a nag, and nagging seems to fit the Snooty voice. M4, M3, M1. Okay, this is weird. So, trainer, not trainer, trainer, I'd imagine. Trying to flow. The author did apologize that English is not his first language, so that could explain the structure. Yeah, that can happen. There are actors that have forgotten their original accents. And then they have to go to voice training to remember their original accents. Shouldn't be a problem for me because I don't do one accent all the time. I do all the accents regularly. But I mean, my normal accents become more Americanized than it used to be. Oop. This would be 3. I'm just resting my voice a bit in between narrations. But if I need to talk, I shall. I don't really have anything to add to the conversation of cleaning up stuff. And chemistry. Good morning, OVS. I hope you're doing well this day. Sunday, I'd imagine. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. M3. Quite a long story. M4, the trader. M1. M1. M4. M1. Nope, that's not M1. That is M3. This is M1. M3. weird bird in the background. Yes, Red Vex, that's definitely a short organic molecule. Thankfully, now that we're doing sound effects, I don't have to actually say beep. Which, as fun as it is, doesn't really add to the ambience of the story. So the beeps are somebody else's problem. Well, not really a problem, just a thing. M2, I think. M1, M2, M10, M1. Definitely. Beep beep. Badoop doop. Bedeep bedeep. Excuse me. That could work. The M1s in between the speeches is not too bad. As long as I see the closing brackets and quotation marks, I can normally just go back to normal. I just do it at the beginning of a sentence so that I know the whole sentence is in the narration voice. It's just the structure is very weird in this story. It's more trying to see the M1 coming up so I can like mentally prepare to do the next voice, if that makes sense. Like here, we've got a closing brackets. Oh, there's the opening brackets. M10. This is the trainer, so this is M2? Yes, M2. Because narrating is like predictive text, human predictive text, just having something to differentiate and your human text completion just sees the code, then it'll kind of remember. It's the whole reading ahead a bit. M10, I think. All right, I'm going to step away from the computer a bit, rest my voice a little bit, go to the bathroom, and I'll be right back. Don't need to do this. I shall change the screen, blim, 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 and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Good morning, Katini. Hope you're doing well. So, serious question time. Why is there white at the bottom of this? Serious question time, chat. I was thinking about the story when I walked away, contemplating it. So, the gist of the story is humans and aliens are having a battle, like a boxing match to the death. The aliens are very confused because the human that they are fighting is very similar to, spoilers by the way, similar to human but much stronger, so they think it's genetically edited to be a stronger human. And they fight and they kill each other. And it turns out that the humans used a gorilla to fight for them. And because their genetics between us and gorillas are so similar, the aliens just thought that it was genetic engineering. My problem with this would be, isn't this cage fighting or like dog fighting or cockfighting or anything like that? It's just, would it be considered animal abuse? Exploitation? I'm not sure. I mean, it's different if the gorilla won with no injury. But he didn't. Or maybe he won, but it was definitely with injury. Yeah, I'm busy checking to see if there was any indication that, they bumped up the intelligence and it was a conscious decision. But I'm not seeing that, so that changes things quite significantly. I mean, there's this... it's like... But he still understood what was expected of him in his own way. But I mean, they haven't indicated that they've increased his intelligence and that he fully understood what he was doing. Yeah, I mean, they're significantly stronger. There's also not only the TOS that's the problem. It's also when in doubt, don't. I think. So I think we shall skip this story. Let me just read the beginning of the story. Maybe it says something there. Okay, so it's an overlord's thing. I'm very torn about this. I don't really know. Yeah, I think I'll skip this. I think we shall skip this. Fair enough, James. Fair enough. But, I mean, I haven't recorded it, so I don't have to do too much. Okay. Story number next, then. Look, I mean, I read my stories for people to escape, and some subjects just bring people back to reality in a very bad way. Well, not necessarily a bad way, just bring people back to reality. I think this is one of those subjects. Okay, banished. Oh. That's M1 because it's a collective thought. M1. At the first few moments of calm, panic ensued after the day, riots, looting, blah blah blah. Broadcasts were sent across the worlds. People, united souls, we have discovered that our entire solar system has moved. Another dimension. We have scouts going out in the heliosphere now to go blah 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 blah. I don't know, M10. M1. M10. Welcome back, Nigel. We have decided to do a different story, so I'm busy going through that one. Wholesome Crusader. Lockpicking can be very interesting when done legally. It should always be done legally. Illegally is frowned upon. Pen testing is good. Breaking and entering is bad. Okay, so all of this is M10. 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 M1. It's very different, I think, if you've uplifted the species and they can make a conscious choice, and then not. M10, M10. M1, M10. M1. So all of those M10. It's quite a lot of exposition. Yeah, YouTube chooses weird times for their adverts. M10, M1, M10. Seriously narrative heavy. M1. Oh, exposition heavy. M10. M1, M3, I think. Yep. Not 2, 3. 3. M3, M1. M2. It's a general. I think this is all M2. No? No. We've missed something. Open. Closed. Open. We're missing a closed brackets. This is almost like programming. Not brackets, inverted commas. Okay, so there it should be there. And then M1, blah, 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 M1, then M10 again. Awesome. I'm sure that recalls a riot, James. It would be funny, though. Alrighty. We have the next story. Then we need to close you, open you, move over to streaming mode. Not streaming mode, recording mode. And right. Yes, you definitely want to try avoid getting an X-Acto knife into the toe. Alright, on to the story. Video recording, audio recording. Everything's ready, and away we go. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Banished, written by Captain Candy. Everyone on Earth, Mars, and Luna looked up at the sky, all with similar thoughts in their mind. What just happened? Day or night, everybody noticed the shift in the sky. How the deep sky went from black with twinkling stars on the night side to a swirling of orange and random brightly shining objects much larger than any star. How the sky turned from its bluish hue to more of a green correlation. The ones who noticed it the most, though, it was the people between planets out in space. The entirety of space seemed to shift in mere moments, surrounding them in an inky blackness to shift in mere moments, surrounding them from inky blackness to bright orange light coming from every direction. After the first few moments of calm, though, panic ensued. After a day of riots and looting, things finally calmed down as a public broadcast was sent across all worlds. People of the United Soul States, we have decided that our entire people of the United Soul States, we have discovered that our entire system has moved into another dimension. We have scouts going out into the heliosphere now to go and try and see what might have caused this. The sun's heliosphere seems to be keeping that orange gaseous substance out of our solar system, so whatever it is, there is no need for alarm right now. We have our top scientists and researchers in the right fields looking into this night and day. Please remain calm and continue as normal. There is no threat present right now. I repeat, there is no threat present right now. Weeks pass, and everyone gets used to their new normal and how water is seemingly turned an emerald green color, and computers seem to be just a little faster. This was when the second announcement came out. People of the United Soul States, we have discovered the cause of our shift. People of the United Soul States, we have discovered People of the United Soul States, we have discovered the cause of our shift to this dimension. At the edge of the heliosphere, all around our solar system, on the inside of it, are hundreds of thousands of temporal emitters. We seem to have been sent into some form of subspace, and then somehow in the space teleported out between the jump. This appears to have landed us in an entirely new dimension with minor changes to physical laws. We have samples of the orange smoke outside of our solar system now and recognize it as a pure element of this reality. It is highly toxic to all life in our solar system, but really won't change that much. It is highly toxic to all life in the solar system, but really won't change that we must. Won't change what we must. Won't change that we just need our right. It is highly toxic to all life in the solar system, but really won't change that we must need airtight ships to travel outside of our solar system in the vacuum. Well, not so much a vacuum anymore. We have also learned that this dimension has its own almost mirrored periodic table. The laws of this reality are mostly being separated out from our own by Sol, our home star. We have no idea how it's keeping physical laws out, mostly. It's let a couple, but they are not harmful to us. In fact, they seem to be helping us. Light speed is a little faster here, making our computers more efficient and way more. Light speed is a little faster here, making our computers more efficient, and the way water molecules bond seems to have been adjusted. This made our water essentially the spring of immortality. We have not even the foggiest idea of how or why, but people who haven't drunk the new water are still aging normally. But the people who drink it, all aging in their cells has ceased. Even if it's only a single glass of water, our aging has stopped, and there has been a notable increase in heating with people who have drunk it. We have gone from every scientist available studying this to agreeing that anyone who makes a contribution will be rewarded 1,000 credits. In short, we have been banished to a dimension, our entire solar system. In this dimension, the universe wants us dead. Our star wants us alive. And we have become effectively immortal. More time passes, and slowly more and more discoveries are made. People became wildly rich from consecutive discoveries, and humanity slowly progresses forward at a rapid rate. After several months, a new announcement is made. People of the United Sol States, we have finally mapped out the periodic table for this universe. So let's everyone enjoy the free beer at the bar. On the Sol central government, of course. We also recently discovered that many of the elements here want us deader than dead. A few, though, the shiny few, have some unexpected effects on humanity. One of which, that has been named Big Brainium, has the effect of forming 3 times more interconnections in our minds than baseline. The effect is permanent and made even the dumbest Senate staff member able to solve the old Riemann hypothesis. Riemann. The dumbest Senate staff member able to solve the old Riemann hypothesis in a matter of hours. Another increases our heating factor. We can now lose eyes, arms, and other things, and after a bath with a single drop of the stuff in an hour, we'll have them back. Finally, the orange gas, when refined and processed, instead of trying to dissolve our flesh, will reinforce it. The limiters the human mind needed to protect us from our own full strength are effectively gone now, and we don't need them. This dimension has proven not only to be lethal for us, but seems to have brought humanity to a whole other level of existence. In the following months, I look forward to the progress we will make in this new home of ours. As months pass and give way to years, progress advances at an exponential rate, and after a decade, another announcement is made. People of the United Sol States, today we have done it. We have figured out long-distance FTL technology. We've even figured out the teleportation between portals. Turns out, we don't need Matryoshka brains at all. We can use quantum shenanigans to have entangled particles remember all our data and send it from one superposition to another through some good old tunneling. With our new minds, this is simplicity itself. But wow, it wasn't under our noses this whole time. A secret government project launched the first long-range FTL ship out to one of those large glowing dots in the sky. We found out that those are stars in this dimension. Well, not quite. They are each a heliosphere of a star, and every one of them is picking and choosing and letting specific laws of the area between them to go inside of their system. The laws in the orange gas that makes up the void now are strange, but not a threat to biological life at all inside of our ships. They are wildly different from our own universe, but each heliosphere here seems to have its own little micro-universe with its own laws in the space. The one we sent our people to is also safe for life. It would seem that our biology from the Solverse is pretty robust. We can survive wildly different psychics. We can survive wildly different physics, and our body's natural bioelectromechanical fields keep all of these pesky deadly laws changes out. We are in essence walking stars that can, when we reach a point in tech, travel the multiverse and keep our laws to ourselves. In other related news, we figured out how those devices that banished us here worked. We can go home to the Soulverse now, if we choose to. We can go home to the Soulverse now, if we so choose. So, humanity, do we want to go back? Before you vote yes or no, though, there is another option. We could stay here for another estimated 10 years. In this time, we would send out terraformation drones to find the suitable star in the old universe to be New Earth, and keep the solar system here. We could keep our little slice of heaven and have a 24/7 public portal system to go home. Finally, and lastly, we have discovered a fun new element here inside the new star system that gives us psionics. But you probably guessed that, since I'm sending this message to everyone's head right now. A large-scale vote is put out, and humanity decides to keep Sol where it is, and simply build a new Earth in their original universe to go to and from. To go to and from. The project gets put underway, and another announcement is made. People of the United Sol States, like many of you have theorized, we were banished here by another race in our old universe. Like you guessed, we know who did it. We found their branding logos all over the devices that did it for Pete's sake. Now, while it ended well and we all became pretty much living gods in our own slice of heaven, I'm personally kind of angry that they banished us to another dimension. I'm also pretty sure that they did it to try and kill us. Also, I'm pretty sure they tried to kill. Good morning, Gust. Hope you're doing well. I'm also pretty sure that they did it to try and kill us all, since the orange smoke pre-processing is highly lethal to all forms of life, carbon, silicon, and cobalt. Clearly, nobody had ever been sent to this universe and survived. We found many rogue planets in gas giant. We found many rogue planets in the gas that are made of elements from our original universe. It seems like whoever did this has done it to other races and has never heard back from anybody sent here. We were banished to be killed and destroyed. But we, I guess, were too spread out in our solar system, so they sent the whole darn thing. Good for us that they did, since we got sent with Sol's laws here, didn't kill us all, and the solar winds pushed the gas out of the way so fast that it couldn't even bother us. Our planet's magnetic fields keep it out too, but by looking at the other planets, we can tell that this was temporary. So, when we get back, do we think the aliens who banished us take their heads in a war? So, when we get back, do we think the aliens who banished us take their heads in a war of revenge, or just give them a slap on the wrist and tell them not to do it again? Another large-scale vote is put out, and humanity ultimately votes to banish every alien homeworld from any race who helped banish them. No stop them, though. Can't go giving them a chance to survive, after all. This dimension is human only by law. Captain Natch slips down his chair in relief as he sighs. Captain Natch slips down into his chair in relief as he says, "Good work, crew. We managed to banish the whole system without being discovered. That was too damned close for comfort, though. How did we not get noticed? How did we not notice the wildly dangerous things until this far into their development? Seriously, a gravity well like that, eating poisons and acids for flavor and their strength factor. Why? Just why? Whenever we manage to banish the humans into Dimension X, we won't ever see them again." Somebody send a message back to the car world. We got the humans. They are banished to Dimension X, star and all. On a personal note, I look forward to our bonus when we get back home. This mission had way too much risk involved, and I plan on retiring. I'm authorizing the unlocking of the inebriants for the next standard day, too. We all worked hard here, and we deserve to celebrate. 30 years later, Council Prime World in orbit around Sagittarius A. An image is being projected into the room of a star in what humanity called the Orion Cluster. The entire chamber is deathly silent. As the general speaks at the front. Council, this recording was taken 5 standard days ago. A freighter was making its way out to the edge of one of the galactic arms for some rare materials that cannot be found near the core. Council, the recording was taken 5 standard days ago. A freighter was making its way out to the edge of one of the galactic arms for some rare materials that cannot be found near the core. With the human system removed, there is an amazing little shortcut through that area now. However, when the ship stopped at a nearby star system to refuel at a gas giant, they noticed lights on one of the rocky worlds. This usually means sentient life, and so the ship made its way there to assess the race. To the utter horror of the crew on board, the ship at the time they found humans. We banished those wildly dangerous apes to Dimension X 30 years ago, in the largest banishment ceremony ever done. Yet, even after sending these death monkeys to Dimension X, which nobody has ever returned from after millions of world banishings, they came back. Not only did they come back, they did so stronger than before, and with abilities we've never seen before in any other race. They are lifting what appears to be blue steel beams by simply pointing at and wielding into. They are lifting what appears to be blue steel beams by simply pointing at them and welding them into place by pointing with their other hand and directing the light around them into thin beams of laser wire. Whatever is in Dimension X seems to have not only allowed the humans to survive, not even just thrive, but to grow stronger. If this was not recorded by a freighter from one of the companies that makes the banishment devices, I would call this a bad joke and have every crew member launched into the galactic core. But council members, this is real and humans have come back seemingly as living gods. No, this isn't just advanced technology looking like magic. We did every scan imaginable without being detected, and they all came back saying that the humans had 0 implants anywhere in their bodies. Council members, to be honest, I fear the human retribution, because not only did they survive the unsurvivable, they came back as living gods. They solved multiversal travel, clearly, or at least reverse-engineered our banishment devices and reversed the process. Either way, we should be afraid of them. I'm just the messenger here to inform you all of this happening and to take orders when you decide what to do next. Another week passes and the Galactic Council assembles a fleet of world ships and star destroyers. Once a fleet of hundreds of thousands of ships is completed, they launch it to the new human world. Where they were discovered. They destroyed the entire planet and then forced the star into the system to go supernova for good measure. Once their mission is complete, they leave the system and report the success to the council. 5 years later, a single ship of unknown design shows up in every council homeworld, and a message is broadcast across the entire galaxy, even on top-secret military channels, and even races who haven't left their worlds yet. Attention, Galaxy. This is a message broadcast to the live world. Attention, Galaxy. This is a message to broadcast the live world banishing of every council member that attempted to banish and commit genocide on our entire human race. They sent us to another dimension where the very elements taking up what should have been a vacuum would try and erode and eat any living thing from our universe. Due to extreme luck and perseverance, we managed to not only survive, but grow in a hellish place. We hacked into the council records and discovered this was, in fact, attempted genocide. Now that we know for a fact that they tried to have us all killed, we, humanity, made a choice. We voted on it. And decided your galactic senate is too dangerous to exist in our human empire. So we will now film and broadcast a live feed of each and every last one of your homeworlds being banished to Dimension X, which we are now renaming to Hell. After all, you said ours was a hell world. It only seems fitting now then. Enjoy the show, everyone, and feel free to offer peace or alliance for future funding of a new galactic council under humanity's strict moral compass. Please, everyone enjoy the fireworks. I, myself, will be having popcorn with it. End of story. Good morning, Acriphius. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I struggle with saying the politicians are smart. Good morning, Manatharium. Hope you're doing well. Continue as well. Right, so that's 2 stories in one day. It's fantastic. For a total of, what do we do? 5,000 narrated words, which is good. It's about 50-ish% of what I can normally do. And I've been streaming for 2.5 hours, so very, very awesome. Definitely getting there. I'm glad, Monothoria. I really am. I really wasn't sure whether people would enjoy this sort of stream. But you never know unless you try. So, this is me trying. And people seem to like it. The biggest problem, I think, is a timing issue. For most North America, well, America, South and North, it's quite late or early. Really depends on your point of view. I think that the thumbnail will probably be Hell World meets Hell Universe. Something like that. Like an evil grinning face. Maybe. Fair enough, Peanut. I mean, I did start 2.5 hours ago, so that would be your 3 o'clock in the morning, which is a bit early for most. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you for popping past, and I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Night Red, hope you sleep well, and we'll probably see you tomorrow, or at least later for the premiere. Okay, let's go like that. What do we need? We need a background image, so we can get that edited. Fair enough, James, fair enough. With all the pluses and minuses, it does get a bit confusing. But time travel is always complex. Right, so that is the background done. Let me just shoot that off to the wife. 2366. Oh, you're asking Red. I mean, it could be Hong Kong. That's not good, Wolfos. I suppose everybody has a boss like that at some point. Itchy. Thumbnail time, I suppose. Yeah, first story. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do for first story. Ooh, I like this one. Not what I asked for, but I like it. Let me know what you think. I think this is the healer story. I like it. Right. Thank you for the membership, ROP. It's very much appreciated, and good morning. I hope you're doing well. was the story called specifically? Well, I'm glad that it helps as you work, Arup. I really am. Or Rick. Brian Wells, thank you very much for the gifted shop. Gifted membership is very much appreciated. I don't think I'm eligible for a membership to my own channel. Birth syrup sounds like a very, very complicated thing. Young, blue, green, dye in red. Sort of emphasize that. Also, dye in a bigger font. Good morning, Kevin. I hope you're doing well. I think that works. Humans plus Hal world. Ah. call it. Right. Humans call hell home. Exclamation mark. There we go. Imagine, what are you doing? So, yes, after I narrate, I do the thumbnail stuff as well. Just so people can see the full process from my side. Obviously, this doesn't include editing. Oh, yeah. But I think we ended up with like 2 nice stories overall. Even the third one was a bit weird. Hunt. Orange. Burning universe. Ooh, that'll be cool. Gotta get those eyes. Yeah, well, yeah. Human utopia is alien hell world. I think it's a bit long. I mean, you could probably go... human utopia equals alien hell. So we're going to put a nice burning in. But nope. Yes, no, don't need that. Very much, but need to fit it on a thumbnail, and that's the tricky part. So, what we're going to do, is this one we're going to be a little bit fancier. We got Earth, I'm going to make it small. Then we're going to remove this, remove this. Okay. So something like that. I'll just move that a bit more. Over, like that. A bit up. Probably also want to push the saturation up. There we go. I think that works. Hell Sweet Home. Okay. That works. Hell Sweet Home. But here's an interesting thing. If the word, the thumbnail has the word humans or Terrans in it, it does better. So we still need to have the word humans or Terrans. Just to some random thing. Humans conquered hell could work. Humans make hell home? I think that makes it's a bit more sense. Do you want to increase the size of humans? So. I think that works. That's better. More popping. Like popcorn. All right. Huh. And that's 3 hours. How time flies when you're having fun. Excellent. 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 Well, we've got Valhalla in South Africa. There's a little town called Valhalla. And it's not about leaving you, it's about my voice not really being able to do more than that. Although, I mean, it was a pretty productive stream, shall we say. 3 hours of streaming plus 2 hours of work, or an hour of finished narration, half an hour, 45 minutes of finished narration. This water bottle is 1.5 liters, I think. But it's thermal, so the inside's quite a bit smaller. But normally I drink between 4 and 6 liters of water a day. Not because I want to, because I have to. No, I'm not really a big fan of water. Especially if it doesn't come in a coffee cup with coffee. And the reason I also don't want to push it too much is I've found with my voice acting and narrating and stuff, that I can push it today and I'll sound fine, but my voice will be destroyed tomorrow. So I don't want to push it too much. I mean, I might be able to stream for another half an hour, and it won't be too much stress on my voice today, but it could cause more stress on my voice tomorrow. That's why we build up slowly over time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I could figure it out, but I don't want to right now. I'd say probably 1 liter, 1.5 liters, looking at the inside. These are, so just for comparison's sake, this is a 750 milliliter, and this is, it's a little bit wider, a little bit taller, so I'd say the outside's 2 liters, the inside's probably 1.5 liters. I do. This is why I use filtered water. Well, and because the water that comes out my tap is dodgy. Yeah, problem with lemon is it's acidic, so it sets off acid reflux. So I can't eat oranges, can't eat lemons, because it just destroys my stomach. It just kicks off my acid reflux quite badly. Right. Glasses on. I think that's going to be me for the day. It's 1 o'clock. I'm not hungry, so no lunch. But 3 hours, that's good. Want to try and hit 3 hours every day this week in a stream. So if we do 2 stories a day, should be fine. But it does mean if we do 4, 6 stories, we should push 5 hours, 6 hours. But that's something we'll definitely have to build towards. That's not a today thing. So, yeah, I think I've bullied my voice enough for today. And same time tomorrow. Hope you all have a fantastic one. And if you're at work, I hope it goes without incident and ends quickly. And if you're not at work, I hope you have a fantastic day, doing whatever it is that you're going to be doing. I am probably not going to be doing much. Yeah, I mean, I take a vitamin C supplement, so because I can't take citrus. I can't eat citrus. Alrighty, hope you have a fantastic one. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Cheers.